U.S. Coast Guard shadowed Chinese warship sailed inside U.S. EEZ near Alaska's Aleutian Islands. The U.S. Coast Guard recently released a set of pictures of the Legend-class cutter USCGC Bertholf shadowing a group of 4 Chinese warships sailing in America's exclusive economic zone near Alaska's Aleutian Islands back in August. The emergence of these pictures follows the editor-in-chief of Global Times, a newspaper under the direct control of the Chinese Communist Party, taking to Twitter to criticize U.S. Navy operations in the Pacific that routinely challenge many of Beijing's widely disputed maritime territorial claims, especially in the South China Sea and the Taiwan Strait, and warn of tit-for-tat activities on the part of the People's Liberation Army Navy. The pictures were shot between August 29 and August 30, 2021, but were only released through the U.S. military's Defense Visual Information Distribution Service, DVIDS, website more recently. The captions to the photographs, which have now, curiously, been removed from DVIDS, say they were taken in international waters inside the U.S. Exclusive Economic Zone, EEZ, off the Aleutian Island, coast. It's not clear if any Chinese vessels are still inside the U.S. EEZ off the coast of Alaska, which stretches well out into the Pacific Ocean, but the war zone has already reached out to the U.S. Coast Guard for more information. The exact identities of the People's Liberation Army Navy, PLAN, ships that were inside the EEZ in August are unclear. However, the caption to one of the pictures, seen at the top of this story, says that the PLAN task force included a guided missile cruiser, a guided missile destroyer, a general intelligence vessel, and an auxiliary vessel. Independent observers have already noted that Japanese authorities had reported 4 PLAN warships transiting east to west through the Soya Strait, which would have pointed them in the general direction of the EEZ off Alaska, on August 24. Those vessels included a Type 055 destroyer, which the U.S. military has categorized as a cruiser in the past, as well as a Type 052D destroyer, a Type 903 replenishment ship, and an intelligence gathering ship with the hull number 799. This would align perfectly with the Coast Guard's description of the 4 Chinese ships sailing near the Aleutians. It also represents a very capable, multi-purpose task force. The Type 055, in particular, is the PLAN's most modern surface warship and has more than 100 vertical launch system cells that can be loaded, as required, with a variety of surface-to-air, anti-ship, and land attack missiles. What level of interaction the Coast Guard has had, or may still be having, with these Chinese ships is unclear. The caption for another one of the pictures, seen below, does say it shows the Bertholf's commanding officer, Captain Tim Brown, as he communicates with a Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy ship operating as part of a 4-ship PLAN task force, and that interactions between Coast Guard cutters Bertholf and Kimball, another Legend-class cutter, which is also operating in the area, and the PLAN vessels were safe and professional, and verbal communications were in accordance with international standards. The appearance of these pictures online does notably follow a tweet from Global Times editor-in-chief Hu Zaijian on Sept. 8. Hu was reacting directly to other posts on that social media site from official U.S. Navy accounts that highlighted the arrival of the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group in the South China Sea, in order to uphold the free and open use of Indo-Pacific waters. The Chinese government has expansive territorial claims over this body of water, which are widely rejected by other countries in the region and the international community at large. Hopefully, when Chinese warships pass through the Caribbean Sea or show up near Hawaii and Guam one day, the U.S. will uphold the same standard of freedom of navigation, Hu wrote on Twitter. That day will come soon. Also on Sept. 8. The U.S. Navy's Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Benfold had conducted what is known as a Freedom of Navigation Patrol, or FONOP, within 12 miles of Mischief Reef, which Chinese authorities say is their territorial waters, in the Spratly Island chain in the South China Sea. The service also denied reports that Chinese forces had chased Benfold out of the area. This all followed the Chinese government's announcement on Sept. One that it had instituted new rules requiring many categories of foreign vessels, not just warships, to identify themselves and provided additional information after entering the country's territorial waters.